I'm here
Thank
with
you.
Emma of Dying Wish to talk about the upcoming new record, Symptoms of Survival, out November 3rd on Sharp Tone Records. I see that you're rocking your own merch. That could only mean one thing. You're either on tour or getting ready to go on tour.
Just about getting ready to go out in like 2 days. So yeah, I have packed as little clothes as possible, so I'm going to be rocking this hoodie all tour.
So I want to talk about the album, but before we talk about the album, I saw the post that you guys made on social media about the break-in and the stealing of the gear. And any new developments on that?
Not really. Just like thank you for everyone in the community who helped share that. We like the guitars are probably long gone, but thanks to Jackson, we were able to get some new ones. So I think that, we just kind of counted it as an L and, keep trucking forward.
Like there's not enough L's for bands that are out on the road touring that you need an extra one right before you hit the road. Unreal.
Yeah, it's all right. It's part of the deal. It happens, and I didn't really expect to see any dialogue about it, just because it was literally just a real quick smash and grab. It's not like we leave valuables in our car and stuff. It's a very important lesson to learn, just generally, but especially as a touring band. So, it got a little complicated, but I think it's all good now.
So let's talk about better things, brighter things, which is this record. How much of this album do you see as a continuation of Fragments of a Bitter Memory, or how much of this record is a brand new, fresh start for you guys?
Um, I would say the majority of it is a continuation because we kind of like have some, second parters, like Path to Your Grave is essentially part two of the song Fragments of a Bitter Memory. And we kind of continue to expand on a lot of the topics that we had talked about on Fragments. And I think that we stay very true to the sound that we had established on Fragments, but we just kind of elevate it and have tried to prove that, we're kind of here mastering the sound and mastering our craft that we kind of, laid the foundation for everyone to expect.
When you guys started the writing process for this record, did you have a vision for what you wanted it? Did you wanted it to be a little bit more broad and inclusive, or do you want it from the beginning to be broad and inclusive but still be part of who you are?
I would say the latter, definitely broad and inclusive, but we still stick very true to, our Dying Wish, ethics and whatnot. But we just wanted to be able to expand on a lot of the topics that we talk about and make them a little more general. And that kind of helped me write outside of, the normal framework that I would write outside of, which is a very like personal and specific experience. It kind of helped me just like write more generally and open my box of character thinking and exercise some new ways to write lyrics, essentially.
When you take that approach, does that allow you to be a little bit more coy about things that maybe you just want to keep it a little bit closer to your heart?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely being as open and vulnerable as I am, is definitely like a hard thing to deal with sometimes. It is very scary. And for example, like Paved in Sorrow, that song for me is written very specifically about something, but I tried to, make it so that everyone could relate to it in one way or another. I didn't want to just like alienate people who were going to listen to the song because I wanted to speak my truth. I was able to speak my truth and also do it poetically in a way where it'll connect with people.
Is that the song that opens the door to your inner self the most on this album?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that song, I kind of had an epiphany while I was writing it. So, like, the whole thing is me making this realization as I'm writing the song in real time as to, this thing that I had never really truly accepted or processed. So it is very much like kind of a window into my soul, for sure.
Is that a song that, due to that emotional baggage, for lack of a better term, that comes with it, does it make it more difficult, or does it make you feel better when you're performing it?
Um, I haven't performed that song live yet, but I can say for like Fragments of a Bitter Memory, for example, that song was written about something that I'd never really ever publicly talked about. And so for me to be able to kind of normalize what I'd gone through by performing it so many times, it really did help, me process the grief and um, let go of a lot of the importance that those painful things had to me and turn it into something more positive. So I'm sure that, Paved in Sorrow and Pat to Your Grave and the more personal songs on the record will kind of have the same effect after playing them live.
For those of us, I'm not the case. Not that I don't want to do it, but I just never had the chance of going to see a psychiatrist or talk to somebody about my inner feelings and inner thoughts. I tend to be very vocal about it. But normally, when you go see somebody, you talk about it and then you walk away. When you perform, you get to talk about it all the time, and it's not like it's going away because it forces you to deal with it every night while you're on the road. Does that put a wear and tear on you, not just as an artist, but like as a person?
Um, no, I think sometimes like it'll kind of shock me because sometimes like I'll have an emotional reaction to it. And after like, kind of desensitizing myself to it for so long, so every once in a while, I'll listen to the song or play the song and actually like have an emotional reaction. And it's just kind of like processing your trauma is very fluid. It doesn't happen in a straight line. So I think that does surprise me a little bit. But as far as like, most of the time, I would say that it's definitely made me stronger and it's allowed me to take a different form of ownership over, my pain and like my trauma and kind of transform it into a thing that I own it now and it doesn't own me. So I think it's been powerful and like really helpful in that way.
Listening to this record, having listened to the debut album, listen to this record, I could see the massive growth in you guys as a band, from the sound to the lyrics, vocals, song structures, album design. I mean, these two records feel like they've been 20 years apart because of how much you guys have grown. What do you attribute to that growth in such a short period of time?
Wow, that's cool. Thank you. Well, I think first of all, we did 6 full tours last year. Um, and then 2 tours before that, or 3, so we've just been touring nonstop. And I think that that's made it very clear to us who we are. And, throughout the process of touring a lot, we weren't necessarily riding on the road, but we were always talking about like what it is. We're always talking about what it is we want to do next. It's always like in the forefront of our mind. And so that, and also we had never written a full record before. We'd never had the immersive studio experience until we wrote Fragments. And Fragments was, we weren't as prepared as we wanted to be. And so for that record, it kind of felt like we missed some of the marks that we wanted to hit. For Symptoms of Survival, we were able to like really elaborately plan out all of the things that we wanted to accomplish with that. So I think it was just a lot of planning and a lot of intentional meaning behind everything that we did.
The first time I listened to the album, I posted on my social media that the album slaps so hard that I end up with a concussion. I'm not joking. Like you guys really turn the knob. Never mind 11; it goes all the way to 15 on this record. It has such a mature presence, such a mature sound, and on your vocal side of things, the clean vocals are absolutely haunting. Is that a side of your range that you work more than the harsh vocals? Because it feels like that side came a little bit, like I said, more mature on this album.
Yeah, well, I've been singing forever. I've always wanted to be a singer. I spent years and years in choir and I have some classical training. And so I'm an alto. So I have that very, rich low end to my voice, but I also have a bit of a high range as well. So that has always been something that, we were eventually going to progress to use more as a band. I don't think that we'll ever be a band that just does cleans only. Like, I love screaming too. And the process of learning to scream has made me a better singer as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of abandoned what the question was in my brain, but I've been singing a lot more than I've been screaming, so I've kind of had to teach myself and have allow others to teach me how to scream since we started the band. Because originally this started as just like a fun project. You know, we had no intention or even realized that it could become what it is. So I'm definitely a better singer than I'm a screamer, but I'm working on getting better at both.
Do you guys get in each other's businesses? What I mean by that is that, do you comment on the guy's sound, on riffs, on melodies, and do you allow them to comment on your vocals? Are you guys comfortable enough with one another to kind of cross-pollinate ideas?
Yeah, I mean, they push me to be the best that I am, and I really appreciate that. And I think that I think we all do that with each other. You know, we're all constantly pushing each other to be the best who we can be, for not only our individual experiences within the band, but also just like as a group. Um, so, and you know, like sometimes feelings get hurt or whatever, but for the most part, like we've just been doing this for so long, and like right now we have a really great, healthy dynamic, and so it's very supportive more than anything. It's not like really like a tough conversation to have. It's a supportive one.
I know you've mentioned Paved in Sorrow, but I want to ask you about the most difficult track vocally for you. Was that the most difficult track because of the emotional baggage, or do you have a different song on this record?
Yeah, that was tough. I would say Lost in the Fall also. That one really stretches my range as far as it could possibly go. Um, but that was honestly my favorite song on the record to write, just because like I love a closing track. It's always been something that I look for on a record as a music enjoyer. So I thought that was like the perfect cap. But I think as far as like pressure for a song, on me, it was either Lost in the Fall or Paved in Sorrow, because those are like the most like melodic and like emotionally soft songs.
Do you have a track on this record that the moment you guys finish the album, you're like, you know what? I don't know what the set list is going to be. I don't know how much time we're going to have, but this track for sure is going to have to be there.
Uh, yeah, Pray for Me. That song was actually the last song that we finished, and it was like, I mean, I think the crowds are gonna love that song. It definitely is one of the best songs on the record. It didn't fit as a single alongside the rest of the singles, so people are gonna have to just listen to it when it comes out on the record. But I think that that's gonna quickly become a crowd favorite, and it's our favorite song on the record to play as well.
What's your thoughts on Kiss of Judas? Because that's my favorite song.
Kiss of Judas. Okay, so this is kind of embarrassing, but for some of the songs, I'm still stuck on working titles. Is that the one? Is that the one that um is before Torn from Your Silhouette, about like government and
Yeah.
like means of control? That song is that was a big moment I wanted to have on the record. It's kind of pushed further back into the record listening wise, but you know, I really wanted to make a point that um you know, there is a clear issue with the government's power, and all it would take is for us just to unite and set aside our differences, because no matter what, we all have more in common than we do with the leaders above us who oppress us. So I hope that that point gets across.
It's a great track. It also slaps. So I mean, as does the whole record for that matter. I mean, it's a slapping fest, I must say, from beginning all the way to the end. Now, one last question for you. When you're not rolling out of bed with a great hoodie from Dying, uh, what does Emma do when you're not on stage, when you're not holding the mic, when you're not absolutely killing it?
I love sports. I'm a huge NBA nut. I watch games every day from the regular season up until the finals. I watched a preseason game last night, so that's what I do. I I love to exercise. Normally I'm injured right now, but before that I spend 4 or 5 days in the gym. And then, uh I love spending time with my people in my community and going to shows, and I still book shows in Portland. So I'm always busy, but you can normally, if I'm out and about, you can normally find me at a show or just hanging out with friends.
I live in Toronto, but I think I need to move to Portland because there's a great music scene happening there. I mean, you guys, Unto Others, Hoaxed. I just saw Hoaxed like a week ago. Those girls are absolutely killing it on the
Yeah.
road right now. I saw them with Amorphous. That's how I discovered them, and I've been in love with those ladies ever since. Great musicians. So I don't know if it's something in the water there in Portland, but whatever it is, man, you guys are putting out some outstanding music from that part of the world.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so glad you mentioned Unto Others. That is one of my favorite bands currently. They are incredible. And so Pedro, Jeff, and I in Dying Wish, we all went to high school with Sebastian from Unto Others. So maybe it had something to do with uh, the education there or something. I don't know, the school lunch.
Yeah, maybe the school lunches had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Emma, thank you very much for your time. Go check these guys out on the road. Go pick up, pre-order the album. Comes out November 3rd on Sharp Tone Records. One of those records that is going to be in high rotation for me because it's just a solid album, top to bottom, top to bottom. Outstanding record.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All the best.
All right, you too. Thank you.